way.
Oh,
Bruh.
Okay, so as usual, Monday night show, and guess what? Technical issues, right? It's always the same. It's always the Monday night show. That's every time. That's how it happens. So the audio should be fixed now. You should be able to hear me. But welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. Thanks for putting up with the 2 minutes of obviously technical issues that, plague each and every Monday night show. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Like Monday is sort of like it's a good night for me because scheduling wise, it doesn't matter if I stay up late because I'm working late tomorrow. So that's why I chose Monday night to do the Monday night show late like this. But at the same time, it's the beginning of the week. It's always a rush to get to the show. Get everything ready for the show. So the setting up the technical stuff is like always a last minute thing. Like the Friday night streams, the reason often it's a lot smoother is that I'm home and basically getting ready for the stream at least an hour before the stream starts. You know what I mean? Like I'm not actually sitting in the chair, but I have every turned on. I go download the game. I set up everything so that it's ready and whatnot. On Monday nights, it's pure like at 10:30, I was setting up the stream to start at 10:45, including making the thumbnail and everything. So it's that it is what it is. It is what it is. Now let me just check that all my windows are open because it's weird that I had like that stream playing, and I'm under the impression that that means that one of our trailers was improperly set up. Yeah, that's what happened. That is exactly what happened. Because I basically, just so you guys don't know, like I had a weird, I had something playing in the background and it wasn't supposed to be playing. Okay. As I said, awesome technical issues. So first, I'm going to say hi to everyone I see in the chat so far. Hey, Frenchy Mom, Nanaki, Once Kilos, Squirrel, welcome back. Corey, my man, welcome. Unfortunately, there's no cards today. But Corey, I think you didn't show up for the stream on Friday, or at least I didn't see you there on Friday. I went to my first Lorcana event this week. So I went to play in my first Lorcana event. It was a very small event. We were like 6 people. But I finally have a couple of Lorcana games under my belt. Now, I went in with a pure starter deck. Like, I just bought a starter deck, sleeved it up, and played the starter deck. So I did get my ass handed to me regular, like, in every game. But the important thing is now I've got the flow down, so now I can make my own deck. Because honestly, I wasn't wrapping my head around just a league, a normal league. I was trying to wrap my head around basically the game flow and the decision flow. Now I have the decision flow down. So now I'm sort of like I've got it. And I'm like that. Like when I used to play Magic, I used to come up with a deck, but it wasn't until I played my first game with the deck that I really felt the strat in it. And however, Magic was a little bit easier at the end because I played that game for like 30 years. The ass was handed to Rick on Friday. We should put this on the record books. Actually, the Lorcana event was on Thursday. Friday, yeah, Leica handed my ass to me. But by the way, I'm almost done, Leica. I almost finished it this weekend. I got the shotgun. We're getting pretty close to the end, so hopefully there will be a review this week. And there are far less deaths than in the beginning. A big thing with Leica, if ever you do pick it up, and it's like this every time for muscle memory. Like, that is a game that is extreme muscle memory. Okay, like extreme muscle memory. Go to bed, come back the next day, and the muscle memory will sort of, subconsciously develop. The next day, it was so much better. It was so much better. But yeah, it's just like night and day the next day. And then basically same thing on the Sunday. Like on the Saturday, I played like, I'd say like 2 to 3 hours. Then I went to bed, and when I came back on the Sunday, I was like masterful. uh the game, you're still gonna die a ton. Like, you're never gonna, I don't think that's ever a game. Well, okay, no, not never, because like obviously there's gonna be a speedrunner somewhere that's gonna come contradict me, but like, it's never a game that you can most likely expect to do a regular playthrough without dying. But it is amazing. Just to tell you guys, the game gets better and better and better, and it actually gets easier, I find, once you have the shotgun and different options, because the shotgun, there's a lot of tricks you can do with it. There's a lot of positioning tricks you can do with it. You can also reload pretty much at any time by shooting into the ground, because the shotgun basically has recoil on it, and the recoil is enough that you can actually recharge your weapon in place. You basically shoot like on the ground, it pops the bike up just enough for you to do a spin and back in space. So it actually fixes the problem of sometimes being in areas where it's hard to reload. So it in a way, the game gets harder, but it also gives you better tools, and those better tools, I find, end up like making the game almost like easier in a sense. Because I find the enemies evolve slower than your abilities. Like, maybe the only downside I would have to say about the game is that the enemy variety isn't that huge. There are new enemies that pop up, like guys that throw like rockets. The boss fights are amazing. The boss fights are amazing visually. I actually found the boss fights were the easiest part of the game, though. But the boss fights are amazing visually. And anyway, I'll put out a review. Like most likely this week. But yeah, just saying, I'm almost done it. So, but I do think everyone who's going to play that game, you're going to get that like 50 to 100 death. Like, you have to go through that period to get to the, okay, now I can play the game properly. But yeah, that's that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about tonight's show, because tonight's show is, I would say, like, it's light. It's light in the sense that we have a few stories, but they're all what I would call very small stories. There's nothing that I think is going to take like 30 minutes of our time to go over, because they're sort of like, okay, this might be happening. Let's take a look at this. We've got some news on this front. We've got some stuff coming out. But it's actually been a pretty quiet week on the Switch side. And I'm going to say, when we get to the new game section, it's actually pretty quiet, I find, in the quality new games as well. We have one really big game coming out. Well, I would call it a really big game because like the series has been so long running, and it's pretty much like the grandfather of almost every game in this type. Moonlit Farewell. What? Yes. Sorry, that's the name of the game. Okay, yeah, Momodora. Because I thought you were saying like Moonlit Farewell. Because to me, it's Momodora Moonlit. Like the farewell. I don't know why it doesn't stick in my head for the title. But yes, definitely that is one of the games. But that is not the one I was talking about as the big game for this week. But it is definitely, I think Momodora Moonlit is probably the game that excites me the most for this week. Not gonna lie, it's probably the game that excites me the most for this week. Now, the only thing is they have to stop coming out with good Metroidvanias. They really have to stop coming out with good Metroidvanias, because like I feel like all we've been playing since the beginning of the year are Metroidvania after Metroidvania after Metroidvania. Now they've been really good. I'm not going to complain. I'm not complaining quality wise. They've been really good, but I'd like something really big to come out in a different genre. I'm also going to say really quick, our weekly stream this week is going to be on Thursday, not Friday. Friday, there will not be a stream. Unfortunately, I have a work thing. And it's a work thing I can't miss. It's like the year launch for the company. I have to be there, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Sorry, but we will still... I'll just move the stream to Thursday, unless something comes up and I have to move it to Saturday. But it's most likely... There is going to be a stream. It just won't be on Friday. It can't be on Friday, unfortunately. I like better doing it on Fridays because it's sort of like end of the week and I don't need to worry about the next day. But this week it's just not going to work out that way. And actually Saturday, I think it can't be because we're having people over for supper and stuff. So it's not going to work out either. So it has to be Thursday. I'm going to have to make it work. We're going to have to make it work for Thursday. So that is going, that's out of the way. Little update for those who like to come to the streams. Be ready for Thursday. The good news is almost every game this week is coming out on Thursday, because Tuesday is the 4th, Wednesday is the 5th, the 6th. Almost every game this week is coming out on Thursday, so at least for like game availability, it's not really going to affect us. There's maybe one good game that I want to play that's coming out on Friday, but it's maybe not the best stream game. Maybe not the best stream game. But yeah, so that is that. Now, stories this week. So we're going to be talking about the Capcom showcase coming up. And I don't know. I know I've been saying it for years, but once again, I feel there are signs pointing to us possibly finally getting a new Mega Man game. Like, can Capcom just stop being a dick about this and give us a Mega Man game? Like, they can't be that expensive to produce. Let's be honest. They can't be that expensive to produce. And you can't be that hard to find people that want to work on it. Mega Man 11, which is the latest entry, and we're going to talk about it, was a great entry. It was honestly a really good return to form for the series. Maybe not my all-time favorite, but I find a very strong return to forget Mega Man Legends. Legends sucks. Nah, everyone's gonna hate me. No, but I want a Mega Man X. No, I'm not gonna lie. I want a Mega Man X. I want them to relaunch Mega Man X like properly, not like the garbage we got with X8. Okay, not like the garbage we got with X8. Whose birthday is it? Oh, Saturday's your birthday? Awesome. It's funny because we're celebrating a birthday. When I said we have a supper on Saturday, we're celebrating a birthday as well, but it's a birthday we're pulling forward because one of my daughters, it's February 13th. So we're celebrating her on Saturday because the weekend after, we're celebrating it sort of again, but it's with like the grandparents and stuff, and she wants a little separate thing. So yeah, don't forget my birthday stream. Awesome. You're going to come for the birthday party. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. So yeah, so we've got the Capcom taking place tomorrow. It really sucks. I wanted to stream it, but because I work late tomorrow, it doesn't work out. The worst is it starts at like 5 p.m. So theoretically, if it wasn't a late work day for me, I could have actually like started the stream as I'm ending work. And we could have streamed the Capcom showcase. But if there's anything big that we don't already know about, I'll do a quick video covering it. I'll do a quick video tomorrow covering it. I'll watch it, like after, like maybe an hour later, an hour later-ish. But yeah. So anyway, but I'll do a quick video if there's something good that comes out of it that we didn't already know about. We're going to also look at Japan, like Xing foreign payment methods on the Japanese eShop. which I find really sucky in some ways. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you guys how to get around it. So, I do think a lot of people already know, but I'm just going to point something out because it's something that I already use for years because my credit cards don't work in Japan. I've said it a lot. The credit cards I have are like a little bit of, they're annoying. They're just annoying. Like every time I try to buy like a gift card, it takes forever. By the way, Annie, your gift card is ordered. I'm just waiting for it to come in. So sorry for the delay, but it is coming. I did not forget about you. Okay, taking a few days. I buy too many gift cards. Okay, just so you understand, because I buy like, what is it, like 12 gift cards a week. Not a week, a month. Like I'm like on their watch list of like, fraudulent activity or whatnot. I buy too many gift cards and I buy them in other regions as well, which is what I think really triggers it. Because that's what we're going to get to it. But basically, I already couldn't use my credit cards directly on the Japanese eShop because my credit card company would stop it. So I've been going around it for years. But it's pretty. It's not very hard. It's not very hard at all. We're gonna look at that. Other than that, a few little updates, and actually, really awesome that Nintendo actually lost in court. Nintendo actually lost in court. We're going to look at that. It's a funny story. It's not like a big, don't worry, it's not Pal World. Pal World didn't get off the hook, at least not yet. But Nintendo lost in court, which is a freaking weird thing to say because they like never lose. So maybe this is a starting trend, but we will see. But anyway, so yeah. Now let's get started on things. We'll ease into things, and we'll start with, first of all, what got this Mega Man thing boiling in my head. What, like, not only because of the Capcom showcase, but there's two things combined that made me say this is maybe not a pipe dream. We are maybe looking at something serious. And number one is that Capcom took time this week to update their sales charts for the Mega Man games. And Mega Man 11 was already Capcom's best-selling Mega Man as of last year. Well, they updated the sales charts, and basically it's past another new milestone. Now, this story is coming to us from Nintendo Life. You can go check out their website. Great place to check out your news and stuff. I think we have actually a couple of stories coming from them this week. We have a couple of stories from them this week. Let me just see here. Okay, so yeah, basically back in 2022, Capcom announced that the Mega Man 11 had already become the best selling entry in the series, but now they've actually updated it, and Mega Man 11 has actually passed 2 million sales. Now, I know you're going to say 2 million in sales, like that's not that big, whatnot. But for a franchise like Mega Man that has a very low production cost for a big developer like this, it is a big milestone. And it is one of those franchises that if you look, that even the legacy collections have only sold $1.6 million. The fact that Mega Man 11 as a standalone new entry in the series sold 2 million is a huge, huge achievement. And it does mean that Mega Man is not dead. And 2 million copies also means that most likely it's something that you can, it means that the franchise is basically not dead and it's worth investing money in as long as you can keep it on the budget side pretty flat. And that's why I'm saying Mega Man X would be the best project. Mega Man Legends, if we go back into 3D, production costs are going to boost. People are going to expect more from a 3D game when we're talking about visuals and all that. I think that is where Capcom, it wouldn't work. Okay, it wouldn't work on the monetary side with our current market. However, if you get a very talented team working on a 2D Mega Man X, they could really, I think, knock it out of the park. Especially if they go back to like the cell shaded or anime style graphics rather than doing the 3D rendered. Yeah, a Mega Man 11 is really, really good. It is really, really good. Like, forget Mega Man, just as a 2D action platformer, it is an excellent game. The level designs are very, very good. Um, and like the character designs are top notch. I think honestly, outside of the classic series, like the designs on the characters are really, really top notch in the game. Um, it's hard to compare those characters with like the characters from like Mega Man 1 through 4, like let's say, because they're so iconic. But I think as a relaunch of the series with an updated, fresher look and taking a more modern design to the enemy robots, it was really good. And they managed to make Mega Man sprite look big, but not slow. Because, that's always something that I'll take like Mega Man 7 and 8 as an example. I'll get to that in a moment. What my favorite Mega Man is, I'll tell you guys what my favorite Mega Man is and my favorite Mega Man X is, and then like overall. But if you guys have played all the Mega Mans, you'll see that unfortunately Mega Man 7 and 8 that tried to make Mega Man sprite bigger, a little flashier, had the unfortunate effect of making Mega Man feel like he's moving through water. Like he feels sluggish and the movements seem less crisp is the best word I can find to describe it. And that was a big challenge for a long time. And Mega Man 11 managed to make the sprite bigger, but managed to make everything feel crisp and good. And just let's look quickly at the titles. Like Mega Man 11, 2 million. The closest one is Mega Man Legacy Collection. Okay. Mega Man 2 at 1.5 million. But think of how many times Mega Man 2 has been well, I don't think that they're talking about the collections here because the collections are probably calculated separately. But Mega Man 2, they're talking about the 1988 release. So they're talking about the original release. 1.51 million for that time was amazing. Mega Man X Legacy Collection. I have no idea how Mega Man X Legacy has sold less than Mega Man Legacy Collection. But I get it, but I don't get it. I would have thought that Mega Man X... I find that for a modern person who's never played Mega Man, I find that the X series is a better entry point than the original series, just because the original series could feel too old for certain people. And I'm saying for certain people, I'm being very careful, because it does not feel too old for me at all, okay? But yeah. And then we've got Mega Man Battle Network 4 at 1.3 million. We've got Mega Man X at 1.16 million and Mega Man 3 at 1.08. And these are all the sole Mega Man titles that have attained platinum status. So it's pretty crazy to think that in the original Mega Mans, only 2 of them have attained it, which is Mega Man 3 and Mega Man 2. After that, sales started to drop in the series, with Mega Man 6, I think, having the worst overall. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think Mega Man 6 had the worst overall in the original series. X8, I think, was a disaster as well for the X series, but that's a conversation for another time. But you see, even Nintendo Life here, they precise that they gave Mega Man 11 a 9 out of 10 stars. It is a solid game overall. Forget just the fact that it's a Mega Man game. Now, you're saying, okay, but what, they do this update all the time. However, they did this update specifically right before they have a Capcom Spotlight showcase coming out this week. Now, the showcase, let's flip right over to that because it is linked to all of this. Now, the Capcom Spotlight is coming out tomorrow on February 4th at 2 p.m. PST, so Pacific Standard Time. So if you're Eastern Zone like me, it's 5 o'clock p.m. But the Capcom Spotlight is going to be split into 2 different sections. There's going to be a 20-minute section for the main event, and there's going to be a separate 15-minute section dedicated solely to Monster Hunter Wilds. Okay, Monster Hunter Wilds. And this is why I think that there could be possibly a new Mega Man game. Why would they take the time to update the Mega Man sales figures to give it a little bit of clout, a little bit of, our last game was the best Mega Man, if they aren't maybe going to announce a new Mega Man? And this is where I really think that could be a little surprise spotlight. Now, let's just read through what they're saying here. So bringing you back-to-back info about all that's coming from Capcom. First, get the scoop on upcoming games from Capcom Spotlight, then tune in to the Monster Hunter Wilds Showcase for all the latest info. Both events will have subtitles and are available in 13 different languages. So the broadcast in total is planned for about 35 minutes. We said it, 20 minutes for the first section, 15 for the second. The broadcast does contain age-restricted titles. So we might be getting some Resident Evil. Could we be getting some Devil May Cry info as well? Maybe, because I don't think Mega Man is going to be fitting in the age-restricted content. Monster Hunter Wilds, you could argue that could be age-restricted, but it's not... Like, I don't find like Monster Hunter Wilds would specifically say age restricted. There's no real blood in Monster Hunter. Like, for all the crazy fighting and crazy chopping off of limbs, the monsters don't even really bleed. They like get weak and they look like they're about to die, but they don't really bleed or anything like that. So I don't think like they would put that there. So I am expecting to hear a little bit about a possible Resident Evil remakes. Could we be finally could they actually announce some of them coming to the Nintendo Switch 2? That is a possibility. However, Capcom being such a close partner with Nintendo, if they have a deal with Nintendo that they have to wait till after April 2nd, that might be a thing as well. So I do think it might be with the Xbox showcase where we're going to be feeling that a lot of these titles are coming to Nintendo Switch 2, but we might not have solid confirmations. But you understand that this is why I am so excited about the possibility. So now there are the featured titles that we know about for the moment are down here. So Monster Hunter Wilds, Onimusha Way of the Sword. Super excited for this title, by the way. Really hoping this makes its way to the Switch 2. Capcom Fighting Collection 2 and the Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. Now, I'm wondering what the announcement is going to be for Arcade Classics, because I understand Collection 2, it's not out yet. But what is going to be the announcement for the Arcade Classics? Are we getting a follow-up to the Arcade Classics series? Because I think that basically Capcom is making a division between Fighting Collection and Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. So I don't know if I don't know if this is actually following each other or if this is a follow-up to previous series that Capcom has released. Because we have Capcom Fighting Collections. We have a few of them. Give me a sec. I want to make sure which ones, because the titles are so similar. I want to say the titles right. So we have the Capcom, see we have this 30th anniversary now, so it wouldn't fit in with the 30th anniversary collection of Street Fighter, because that is really exactly, so that's what I was thinking. So this is not a follow-up to this. Let's just be clear. This is theoretically a follow-up to the original Capcom Fighting Collection, which is the one where we got all the Darkstalkers on. Okay, so it is the follow-up to the one where we got all the Darkstalkers. So I'm wondering, are we going to be getting a Marvel Fighting Collection 2? Is that why they're sort of talking about it here? Or are we going to be getting maybe an update with added content here? I'm I do find the inclusion of this one weird, unless they just want to spotlight that it's out. Who knows? I'm really hoping Monster Hunter Wild makes its way to the Switch too. I'm like almost sure it will. Okay, almost sure it will. So that is why I think that Mega Man is going to possibly be a surprise announcement. And it's big enough that it's like big enough but small enough at the same time where they won't like showcase it ahead of time. They could make it a surprise launch. Or a surprise announcement for a future launch. Like I don't think we're going to get a shadow drop of it. If we get a shadow drop, we're going to get a shadow drop of some kind of a remake, like a remake of Devil May Cry 3 or something like that. I could see that happening, like Devil May Cry 3, like a remake of those games. I think it would be worth it for Capcom. I think the series has grown enough in popularity with the 5th one that if they would make a remake of the original ones, you know, maybe smooth out the controls in the first one a bit and whatnot, I think you could get something really, really good going. But now to answer Frenchie Mom's question, because she asked it a while ago, what my favorite Mega Mans are. Don't think I forgot. I remembered the question. So it is very simple. If we're talking about the original Mega Man series, like when I'm saying the original Mega Man series, I'm talking about Mega Man 1 through 6. It is Mega Man 4. Why? Because it's the one I played the most as a kid. It's the one I have the fondest memories of. I find it has excellent designs in the levels and the boss characters. I think it has the best. I know that 1 and 2 are maybe the most iconic designs, but I do think that 4 often doesn't get enough praise for a lineup of excellent robot masters. And I do find that Mega Man 2 would be a close second, probably. But Mega Man 3 introduced a slide. It's so hard. Like, it's so hard. But 4 is my favorite. Okay? Then if we go to the X series, it is Mega Man X4. Mega Man X4 is the first game where we got to play Zero as a main playable character. It's the only Mega Man that I finished with you guys online. Like, I streamed through all of Mega Man 4 with you guys. It is the only Mega Man game so far, I think, that I've streamed on the channel. There's a reason for that. It is my favorite Mega Man X, and it is my favorite of all time. So, however, like, I don't think you can directly compare the original series to Mega Man X because they are such different beasts. But I do have to give props to the original Mega Man X. Like, the jump from Mega Man to Mega Man X as a kid was mind-blowing. Like, I always liked Mega Man. But when Mega Man X happened, it was like I didn't understand that this hadn't been Mega Man from the beginning. Getting the armor upgrades and everything was like, it blew my mind as a kid. You know, because don't forget, like, I think my chat, you guys we're in the age group where you might have played Mega Man X when it came out. Like, and when Mega Man X came out, there was nothing else like it. Nowadays, those kind of upgrades and stuff are like, oh man, all games have this. But back then, man, it was like, what? Not only are we getting the weapons from the bosses, but we're upgrading our armor. And I still remember when I rented the game, because yes, I used to rent games. And when I rented Mega Man X, I remember looking at the box and being like, dude, he's awesome. He's wearing all this armor, because on the original Mega Man X box, on the original Mega Man X box, like, hold on, here, I just did a Google search. Like, this is the original Mega Man X box. On the original Mega Man X box, he was in full armor. But when Mega Man X starts out the game, he's just blue. And when you rent games, you have no, like, I didn't rent the game with the manual. I just rented the game. So I had no idea that the armor pieces, you had to collect them in the levels. So I basically played through a level or two. And when I found my first armor upgrade, like, tube, bro, mind blown. And I was like, what the F is this? And I rented that game, I think, for like 3 weekends in a row. Like, all I was playing was Mega Man X. But that's it. So that is my Mega Man X story. So just props to the original Mega Man, Mega Man X as well, even though it's not my favorite, because they started. I do think that Mega Man, like, X is iconic because of the idea that rather than drop the series, they managed to evolve it. Okay. So that is the Capcom showcase and the possibility, or I find the indications of a possible new Mega Man game coming. Now remember, if it gets announced tomorrow, remember where you heard it first. And I will accept payment for breaking the news early. Okay? You can all send me a, I don't know, whatever. Anything. Dude, Mega Man X, I was trying to find a copy to buy because I could not find a copy in Canada that I could buy. I had my stepdad drive me to multiple stores in Montreal hunting for Mega Man X, and I never found it. I never found it. And I still remember what game I got instead, and it was actually a Sega Genesis game. I got BattleTech for the Genesis. I got this game instead. After like spending 2 or 3 days searching for this game, thank you so much, Nexus Creed, for the gifted membership. Thank you so much, my man. Very appreciated. I bought this game, and honestly, it was pretty freaking iconic for its time. And it was actually pretty freaking crazy, the co-op mode that this thing had. If you've never played this one in co-op mode, basically one person controlled the top of the mech with a controller. The other person controlled the bottom of the mech with the other controller. So one person would move, control the legs, and the other person would control the top turret and shoot. And it was actually one of the only ways to really be efficient in the game is to have someone to play with. Because when you're playing in one player, you sort of can't turn the top of your mech as efficiently because the controls just don't work that way, because you only had like old school like Genesis controllers, like no thumbsticks, no nothing, okay? You can't turn independently. Like there were controls that let you like lock in and strafe, but it was super hard. And basically, but the problem is that you needed to be locked in with that other person. Because try to think of like shooting and moving the legs, but 2 different people doing those 2 things. I remember with my friend, us like yelling at each other, like, no, to the right, the dude's over there, we're getting hit. Ah, you know, like yelling at each other, trying to finish this game. And I still remember it was with my buddy Andrew. Because this is like, when I'm talking young, we're talking like 12, 13 here. Like, we're talking old, man. Old school. And I think 12, 13 is maybe a bit old. Probably more 10 to 12. Yeah, that honestly, I don't want to get into the tariff stuff because we've talked about it a lot. And I feel like no matter what I'm going to say, it's going to come across as, of course, you're Canadian, so, like, you're on this thing. And, like, I always try to be very neutral about this stuff because I said it, I work in finance. although I'm not a tariff specialist, I did go see someone at work before checking out that a bunch of people over the last 2 weeks have made videos explaining exactly what my person at work like. And I already knew that tariffs work that way, but sometimes you're like, maybe I'm missing a piece of the pie that I'm not getting here. So, dude, I'm the ultimate enemy for America right now. Do you guys realize that I am the combination of like I'm a triple threat. I'm the combination of everyone America hates right now. Oh no, hates is a big word. Like everyone America is trying to like, okay, joking. Okay, this is a joke. Well, it's not a joke, but it is a joke. Like I'm for people that don't know, I'm half Venezuelan, which is one of the countries that like people are getting deported to. Okay, I'm half Venezuelan. I'm quarter German, and I'm quarter Canadian. So, you know, let's be honest, Germany with, you know, the Elon Musk stuff and like the Heil Hitler and all that stuff that happened, the Sig Heil stuff is like problematic. Then we've got the Canadians, which is my other quarter, because my mom is half German. If you're wondering how quarters work, I assumed you guys know, but my mom's half German and half Canadian. Okay, so yeah, so my mom's half German and half Canadian. So, you know, tariff war with Canada, and then my other half, man, you guys are trying to deport me. I'm no jokes. I'm actually worried about the reception I'm gonna get the next time I try to cross the border. I'm lightly worried. Like when I say worried, I mean I think I'm gonna get across and everything's gonna be okay. But I do think I'm gonna get dirty looks, and I'm most likely gonna get inspected or have to go into the like little office thingamajig on the side. The next time I try to go to the US, although I'm a born Canadian, by the way, I am born here in Canada. Like I'm telling you, like where my parents are from, but I'm born in Canada. But I am sort of worried about the reception I'll get because my name is very Latin. Yeah, my dad's from Caracas. My dad, well, not originally from Caracas, but like the last place that when I still was had contact with my dad, his family was living in Caracas. He's from, oh my God, trying to because Caracas is the place I've been to Venezuela like 5 or 6 times, and we always were in Caracas. But he's from. It'll come to me eventually. It'll come to me eventually where he was from before, where he was born, because he wasn't born in Caracas. Caracas, by the way, is the capital of Venezuela. Like it's the biggest city and whatnot. If it's not the capital, it's like the biggest city. Um, but yeah, so it's just funny that like I'm like the combination right now of like everything. Nexus Grovel, don't move to Quebec. What's wrong with Quebec, man? Nah, it's all good. Honestly, I'm born and raised here in Montreal, like near Montreal, and yeah, we're good. Uh Dude, I have trouble like even though I live here and like I love where I live, there are definite issues with Quebec that I do not like as a primarily English speaking person that makes it rough. But once again, let's not get into like too deep political stuff tonight. Like it's not that I don't want to do it, it's just that I don't think like tonight's show is the place for it because yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. And like it's not like and just so you know, my wife is French Canadian. Like she's like she's half French Canadian and Italian, but like she grew up like her first language is French and all that. So it's nothing against that, but it is. I do find we waste a lot of resources and energy on language laws that overall are very discriminatory in some aspects. and that's where things really get at me, especially with my grandparents who like have lived here their whole lives, but because of their lack of education, like I'm gonna get it. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys, you're gonna get a bit of lore tonight, a bit of lore of the origin. Okay, because like I said, I'm quarter German, and like, well, and it's not that I think I need to justify myself or whatnot, but just so you guys know, like my great grandma was in a concentration camp during World War II. Okay, so a lot of people don't know that concentration camps weren't only like Jewish people and Polish people and stuff. There were also a lot of poor people in Germany, or people that were regarded as like the government didn't know what to do with. They sort of got swept up in that too. And my German family were very poor farmers, like they had farmland, and their farmland just got basically taken by the government over there, and her mom just got thrown into a camp because her husband was already dead at that point. And my grandparents grew up in orphanages in Germany. And when the war ended, their eldest brother, because okay, the eldest brother was already an adult and had immigrated to the UK a few years before the war broke out. And it's funny because he actually fought in the English army against the Germans. And basically, when the war was over, he came back and got his brothers and sisters and his mother out of the camp. And she survived, by the way, my great grandmother. So like I'm German, but like very anti all that crap. You understand what I mean? Like, and most Germans are very anti all that crap. So please do not associate that with that. Okay. But so, but the problem is that because my grandparents grew up at orphanages, like my grandmother probably has the equivalent in education of like a fourth grade. Okay. Very street smart, very smart woman, a very amazing woman for everything she's accomplished. But on the learning a new language for her is very difficult. And I think part of it comes from education and whatnot. I think, like there are things that you develop in learning new things that maybe she doesn't have as much. So it was very hard for her and her sister to learn French because they already spoke German and they had learned English. Because surprise, surprise, when you're in Europe, most people want to learn English because worldwide it's more useful than French or like Spanish and whatnot. Doesn't mean some people don't learn it anyway. It just means that it's more people do that. So they learned English. But my grandma met my granddad, which was a French Canadian, but he was a French Canadian that also spoke English. So they met, they got together. He brought after the war. He was stationed after the war. My grandfather's too young to fight in the war. He was stationed after the war. He brought them back here. They got married in Germany, had my mom over there, and after his tour was over, brought them back to Canada. And that's how everyone got here. My dad emigrated separately. But all that being said is that like they tried their whole life to learn French, but they can't speak French properly. It's too different for them than, because German is very close to English, like in its roots. French is very close to like Spanish in its roots, and it's not as easy to learn. Like it's much easier for a German to learn English and a Spanish person to learn French than if you flip those two things around. Like a Spanish person will always have more trouble with English in general than French, and a German person will always have more trouble with French than English. So basically, and unfortunately, they get, because of that, they get mistreated in a lot of places. Like I speak both languages, I would say pretty perfectly, and like people make fun of them. I hear like people in French like making fun of them when we used to go to stores and stuff. My I told you the story of my aunt that had her leg amputated, and she had nurses that refused to talk to her in English because she couldn't speak French, and like in hospitals, they refused to speak to her in English, and would tell her like learn French and stuff like that, and we're talking about like an 89-year-old woman that just got her leg amputated, like great stuff, guys, like super super. But that's that. But anyway, let's get back to gaming, okay? But that was a bit of lore. I just wanted you guys to understand like where it's coming from. So I understand all of it, but like I love this place, but I do think they make some weird choices sometimes. Sounds a lot like something else right now. Like, I think that applies to a lot of things right now. It's like you can love a place, but sometimes you're like, dude, man, weird choices. And like, it just sucks because like I was gonna come to Boston in March, and we canceled our travel plans because like with all this crap going on, like the dollar's been getting hit so hard that like I'm most likely we're just gonna stick to Canada for this year. But yeah, it sucks because I was really looking forward to going back to Boston in March. Uh, but yeah, okay. Let's get back to it. So, um, for people that aren't regulars in the stream, they're gonna be like, "What the heck is this, man? What the heck is this?" Okay, let's get back to our regular scheduled content. I do think so, Buggy. I do think so. I think you're right. But so we got some news that the Switch's Japan eShop will no longer accept foreign credit cards or PayPal to prevent fraudulent use. Like, I do think that it might be lost in translation, or they might just be trying to sugarcoat, okay? Because in their opinion, fraudulent use, I think, also includes people not from the region buying games cheaper in Japan. Because just for you guys to know, games on average are cheaper in Japan than they are in like the US and Canada. So it is a long-running trick to buy your first-party titles on the Japanese eShop, because every first-party title, except for a few very notable suggestions, are multilingual. Like if you buy Tears of the Kingdom from the Japanese eShop, you can just and your Switch is set to English, it'll just start up in English after that. Or if it doesn't start up, you can just switch it to English. So a lot of people say, by the way, that's why on PlayAsia, I regularly recommend that if people are going to buy more than one first-party game at a time, you're better off saving up and buying 2 or 3 first-party games for about $40 a pop rather than $60 a pop on PlayAsia. By the way, the reason why they're so cheap is because they're cheaper in Japan just on average, okay? So I do think that they're trying to sugarcoat this and include fraudulent use as people buying games not in their region of origin. I think they're grouping that into fraudulent use, okay? So starting on March 25th, you will no longer be able to use a credit card that is issued outside of Japan or a PayPal account. Now, I heard there are ways to get Japanese credit cards, but honestly, for the trouble it's going to give you, you're better off going with option number 2 that I'm going to talk to you about. Now, they can block this, but they can't really block eShop cards. So if you can find vendors online that sell Japanese eShop cards, of which there are many, PlayAsia being, I would say, the most prevalent, you can simply buy a Japanese eShop card and buy your games that way. I've been doing it for years. Okay? I've been doing it for years. Like, I don't do it for most first-party releases because I get physical copies of those. But I do buy sometimes like Japanese exclusive games on the Japanese eShop, and I can tell you right away, all you need to do is use a Japanese a eShop gift card. Now, the one downside was that is you're often left with little leftovers of yen that like stay in your account. But if you're gonna buy regularly, it's not really gonna affect you that much over time. Like over time, you might wind up one day with an extra like $5 worth of credit that you're not using for a couple of months till you buy your next game. But it does really suck that they're doing this for fraudulent use. Like I would actually like them to give like a case of what they consider fraudulent use. Because I'm like, who the heck is going to the Japanese eShop with foreign credit cards to buy games? Unless people are buying games and then like with stolen credit cards. But like, why wouldn't they just buy it from the American eShop? Like, I don't get like something's not tracking here. Why is this exclusive to Japan? Do you understand what I mean? Why is this exclusive to Japan? Like, if it's fraudulent use, wouldn't there be fraudulent use everywhere in the world? That's what I assume, at least. So I do think that this one here is a little weird of a decision, and I don't think it's going to curve. If it really is, like, I think that it's just people like sidestepping the regional pricing of the Switch, it's a little dumb to do that. And by the way, you can you can check a lot of different regions for sometimes some really cheap games. You know, the whole the whole I managed to check out the what is it, Joe Devers Lone Wolf, the game I had in my latest eShop deals video that I really liked. I checked how much it was on the Canadian eShop, and it was actually like like $2.50 or something like that. So it was actually cheaper than the American version, and on top of the Canadian dollar being currently like so much lower, that if you were an American and you bought it on the Canadian eShop, it would have cost you like the equivalent of like $1.50 instead of $2.50. So you can always do that. And also the Canadian eShop doesn't have the $2 limit. You know how in the US, no game can go under $1.99 without being like a secret sale or a publisher discount. In the Canada, that doesn't exist. So games, you can still pick up some games for 20 cents and stuff on a regular basis. Now, they're not going to be good games all the time, but it does happen. It does happen. So I just wanted to give this a little shout out and to mention that if you didn't know that you can buy Japanese eShop cards, this is a nice way to keep sidestepping this and to still buy your Japanese exclusive games. Okay? And it's always a good idea if you're in the market for a first-party Nintendo game and you don't mind taking the time to buy an eShop card first to check, you might be able to save it like $15 or something like that. Because sometimes if you buy a gift card on PlayAsia, an eShop gift card, you do have to play a slight markup. But when you look at the price difference, you're still winning. You're still winning. Topaz is complaining. Yes. I love you too. What's up? What's wrong? Did no one feed you tonight? No? We're good? Okie doke. Now we get to our last spicy story before we look at just a couple of quick announcements. A random local supermarket wins a trademark battle against Nintendo. So we have to read through this story. When I read it, I was like, what the heck? A supermarket? Hey, Topaz, how are you doing? She jumped up. She doesn't like it because I actually, I crossed my legs like they're in a pretzel. So she has trouble jumping up when I pretzel my legs because, like, she has no easy way to climb up. So that's why she was complaining, actually. I got it. So Nintendo has legally pursued all kinds of companies and projects over the years, and it often gets its desired outcome. However, it's gone the same way. It's not gone the same way in a recent trademark battle against a family-owned Costa Rican supermarket. Super Mario, which is located in San Ramon, and does not make reference to the famous video game series other than its name, has been trading for decades. Unfortunately, when Mario's son attempted to renew the supermarket's registered trademark last year, Nintendo stepped in. Like, what the heck, bro? Like, especially that they're not really mentioning, like, you're going to see the sign in a second, and it doesn't make sense. The father and son duo weren't sure how they were going to win a fight against such a commercial monster, and at one point thought about throwing in the towel. Fortunately, it all worked out. I would like to greatly thank my legal and accounting advisor, Jose Edgardo Jimenez Blanco, who was in charge of the registration and the subsequent fight for the trademark rights. For a moment, we thought about throwing in the towel. How were we going to win against such a commercial monster, especially with the number of legal documents presented by them to ensure victory? Well, luckily, Edgardo and I stood firm, and a few days ago, we received the good news. So the Costa Ricans Trademark Authority, and honestly, W for them. Like, I'm glad that, like, they're just like, shut the F up. The National Register ended up siding with the local supermarket, as although Nintendo has trademarked Super Mario under various categories, supermarkets and the sale of groceries is not referenced. And you can clearly see here, like, the guy doesn't have like a picture of Mario on the sign or anything like that. Like, it just says Super Mario. And let's be honest, Nintendo doesn't own the name Mario. Okay? Mario has existed before Nintendo. And in a way, it's cultural appropriation by Nintendo. Because let's be honest, this isn't a traditional Japanese name. So if we want to get right down to it, they're culturally appropriating the Italians and the Brooklyn Americans. You know what I mean? Like, so, exactly. I know he's not Japanese, he's Italian. From Brooklyn. Come on. Because all Italians come from Brooklyn, right? It's not like they have their own country or anything. I'm being facetious, by the way, if it wasn't already obvious. But I just found this freaking amazing that, as you can see the photos, the supermarket has no notable resemblance to the famous video game, with the wording Super Mario, su lugar de confianza. Oh, my God, my Spanish is so sucky. Su lugar de confianza. Holy shit, that was bad. Translating to supermarket, your trusted place. And if you end up visiting this store, you can receive a free sticker with the supermarket's logo on it. So this is honestly a giant step forward towards our visioning that the reason that this company is getting picky is that we are making ourselves noticed. Super Mario is here to stay. What I find funny is that now more people know about this. And this might actually have a backwards effect, where now people are going to be ready to fight this stuff. You know how most people are like, bend the knee because it's too complicated? Well, you know what? I know it sucks, but people have, like, you have to take the time to stand up and say, like, shut the F up, bro. This doesn't work. And at the same time, and like you said, like, it's a total W that the trademark authority just said, like, I said court, but it didn't go to court. Like, the trademark authority just said, like, dude, your trademark has nothing to do with supermarkets. You don't own the words Super and Mario. You own the concept of Super Mario as a video game character and video game related applications. You can't just say that anyway. especially that the fact that it's a supermarket and it's Super Mario. Do you understand what I mean? Like, it's obviously not referencing the game here. The super is referenced as in supermarket or the awesome Mario. Look, I love Nintendo, but they're getting really annoying with this court shit. Like, really, really annoying, especially when they try to bully things like this, where obviously the person has no intention to impede on their trademark. Yeah, but it's like, it's when they go out of their way like this to impede on their trademark. Just like Pal World, honestly, I think that like Nintendo could have just said, we are gonna make the best ever Pokemon game ever, and they're gonna be like, and in a year, all they're gonna do is they're gonna say like, Pal World who? You understand what I mean? Instead, now it gives me the impression that the next Pokemon game is not gonna be that good. It's not gonna be a big step up from what we've had already. And they know they can't match Pal World. That's the impression it gives to me as a Nintendo fan from the outside. Because if you know that you can squash these guys by just making a better game, why do you even give a crap? Do you see, like, I don't know, like, oh my God. I'm trying to think, like, what... You see the makers of Elden Ring going after every Souls-like and saying, hey guys, your game is like our game, uses all the same mechanics, but isn't as good. Nah, they don't care. They just put out the next Elden Ring and they say, guys, take a shot. We're still going to crush you. Anyway, so... really awesome W. I really, and I love that it's like a father and son thing, and like the guy's freaking like lawyer slash accountant. You know what I mean? The guy's not even like a big shot lawyer or anything. It's his legal advisor slash accountant. That was like freaking amazing. And not only that, like I said, I'm born in Canada, but like one, two, or not, half my family's from South America. So it's such a South American thing that the guy's accountant slash legal advisor, you know, where it's like you've got the guy that does all your books for you. Like, anyway, I don't know if you, I don't want to put every South American in the same boat, but like families often have like the accountant. Oh yeah, that's the accountant. Like all the legal stuff goes to him. He takes care of everything. I don't know. Go see Eduardo. Eduardo does it all. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just so freaking funny when I saw that the guy's accountant slash legal advisor said, "Yeah, I'm gonna handle this, dude. Don't worry. We're gonna beat Nintendo." And boom, they do it. Why are the exclamation marks upside down? You're are you joking, Canadian chick, or it's a real question? Because that's just the way Spanish does it. There's always a upside down one at the beginning and a normal one at the end for an exclamation. It's just like that's their graphical way of writing. And sorry. Oh, it's just like it's a grammatical rule. When you're using an exclamation point, there's always an upside down exclamation point first. Like it's just like it says that this is the exclamation. What's in between the 2 points is the exclamation. But yeah. Okay. So awesome little story. Exactly. Once Kilos is explaining, because once Kilos, I'm pretty sure his first language is Spanish. So, but it's exactly whatever's in between the 2 exclamation points is the exclamation. It's a way to. It's just a grammatical rule in. If I showed you all the accents that exist in like German and French, you'd go crazy. We have like different. We have like Oh my God, we have so many different accents. It's funny. Well, Spanish has a couple too. Okay. And I'm saying accents, but I'm not even sure that accents is the right English word for it, because I don't think there's like I'm not sure how you say it in English, because like there isn't. But yeah, you know, like we have like if you'll see a bunch of stuff over words in French. Do I have my keyboard set in French? Yeah, I could do in French. Like if we like you've probably seen it before, but I set my keyboard in French, but like I think this is it. Yeah. So like if you have a dash in front of the E, it makes it an A. So this is an école. Or this would be it's because my physical keyboard's in English. I just set the software in French, but there. A backwards rather than A goes eh. So this goes. It's not grave. It's grève. Okay, and then basically we have. Oh my God, I'm never gonna find this one. Oh well, yeah. You have a CCZ, so there's a little bar under the C that makes it a S sound, so it becomes, instead of being nuck, it's nus. But I don't think nus takes one. I think it's a bad word for that. Where's the tréma? Oh, well, there's this. This is the dumbest thing, because it's the same sound as the backwards one. But for some reason, some words take a little hat on it. And it's chaîne. Anyway, I'm going to stop with the French stuff, but like there's so many accents in French, and half of them theoretically are useless because the words would sound the same without them. Yeah, it's going to be a light stream. Well, we're almost at the games. And it's only been like an hour, 15 minutes. So this is theoretically a very light stream. Okay. Now we've got a couple of quick announcements. Number one, my man Casey Jones is coming to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. Nah. We're done with the tangents. We're back on track. So Teenage Mutant Splintered Fate is going to be receiving an update where with the Junkyard Jam DLC. So let's take a look at the trailer, and it's going to pretty much tell everything we need to know. This is a great Turtles game, by the way. If you haven't had a chance to play it, it doesn't match up, I would say, with like Shredder's Revenge, but it is nonetheless extremely good. I'm actually really glad that this game is getting updates. So there we go. We now have Casey Jones joining TMNT Splintered Fate. And I'm actually really happy, like I said. If you are unaware what this game is, we played it on stream. Splintered Fate is basically, imagine Hades as a TMNT game. Simpler, not as many levels. The gameplay isn't quite as refined as Hades, but the basic principles are there. It is basically the TMNT franchise done as a Hades roguelike. So it's a top-down action game. You control the turtles. You can actually play in co-op, multiple difficulty options as well. One that is very approachable if you want just an easy playthrough. And I would say definitely worth it. It's definitely up there because it's also one of the Turtle games that has an immense replayability to it. Immense replayability. So we are getting a update with Casey Jones now being added, and they seem to be adding new enemies and levels as well. Because if we look at the levels, because we did see a few of them. Now, I haven't played the game in a little while, but this looks like a new boss. I do not remember this boss, the big toad guy. So I do believe we're probably getting a couple of new zones or a couple of new levels. So good stuff. I hope this game keeps getting updates. It is definitely worth it. And I really hope that we even see like maybe a Splintered Fate 2. And I think this could be a really great series in the future. Secondly, our second quick little announcement is we are getting, or it's already out, but we got a new Nintendo 64 game on the expansion pack. And it's a Nintendo 64 game that I have never played. And I'm actually pretty excited to try it out because I was a huge fan of Ridge Racer. However, I played it on the PS1. Now we are getting Ridge Racer 64. So let's take a look at the trailer and then we'll talk about it after. It actually looks pretty good. I'm surprised it looked this good on the 64. Not that the 64 had less graphical power than the PS1, but often stuff looked blockier on the 64. Yeah, Type 4 is really good. So honestly, we're getting some pretty nice updates. Like if you look at the last couple of months, like December to now, we've got a decent Game Boy update with like all the Donkey Kong Land games. We've gotten a really good Super Nintendo update with Fatal Fury 2. By the way, I do have Fatal Fury 2 the cartridge. I didn't find it last week, but I kept digging once the stream was over because I didn't want to spend like 10 minutes digging through my shelves. But I do have Fatal Fury 2 on the SNES. But yes, it's a Japanese cart. But yeah, man, it is a really, really, really. I find we're getting some really good games. Now, obviously, this one does require the expansion pack, which maybe not everyone is going to have. But I would say, nonetheless, it is a really nice addition. And I'm excited to try it out. Like I said, huge fan of Ridge Racer. I played the first two a ton. I did play Type 4. I do think it is probably the best of the original Ridge Racers, like from the PS1 era. But I'll be honest, I didn't play it as much as Ridge Racer 1 and 2. Simply because when I got my PS1, I had two games. I had Ridge Racer and I had Final Fantasy 7. So I played the crap out of those games. Like Final Fantasy 7, I had like I destroyed that game. I had two golden chocobos. I had Knights of the Round times like two, it was a 2 or 3 to max. Like basically when you max leveled it, it would duplicate itself. So I had like double Knights of the Round. It was like I destroyed that game, man. I beat all the weapons. Like, oh, dude. The original Final Fantasy 7. It's probably why I have so much trouble replaying it today is that I love the game so much, but I did overkill the game so much that when I replay it, I just know every section by heart when I replay it. And I'm the whole start of the game, I'm just looking forward to getting the open world where you can go wherever you want. So I can do all the side stuff. Because I don't know why, but Final Fantasy VII, although the story was great, don't get me wrong, I think personally I enjoyed the side stuff the most. Like breeding the chocobos, trying to beat the weapons, finding all the materia and stuff like that. I really liked the materia system too. I don't think there was ever another system in Final Fantasy that I liked as much as the materia system. I'm really trying to think, and I don't think there ever was. It's like really hard. I'm really trying hard to think like the other systems that came later. But I just love that the materia system meant that you could like tailor any character into the utility role they needed. Like obviously their limit breaks sort of put them in a certain category, like Aerith's limit break that was like a mega heal versus Cloud is like, you know, super offensive damage. Um like there were like outliers like that, but you really got to play the characters you liked the most and you could tailor them to what you needed them to do in the party. So if you needed Barrett to be your healer, you could just equip him with a bunch of healing materia and like you could get it to like you would put like, you know, MP and like MP plus materia with like healings and Barrett could be your healer even though like it doesn't fit in at all with the type of character he is. Just cuz but you got to use Barrett the whole game. Like I'm not going to lie, I used like the same 3 characters the whole freaking game my first playthrough. And by the way, I didn't use Aerith. Now everyone knows what Aerith. I hope a lot of people know what happens to Aerith, but I didn't use her the first game, so I didn't get hamstrung when what happens. Yes, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comes out in April. Hold on, give me a sec. I have like a. I was scared I was gonna sneeze and. But yes, Rita's Rewind comes out in April, physically. I'm gonna be picking up a physical. Hopefully VGP gets it. I didn't want to pre-order it and pay the shipping fees and stuff, so I'm just crossing my fingers that VGP is gonna get it and have some extra in stock. I know they are getting it, but I didn't want to pre-order it. I'm just gonna wait, and I'm gonna get I want to get the deluxe. By the way, I have not forgotten about doing the massive unboxing stream, okay? Everything is still boxed up and ready to go. I just really need to sit down for a couple of hours and unbox all this stuff. And it's going to be a massive video, but it's going to be... it's going to take a little... Like, I just have to sit down and do it. I just really have to sit down and do it. And by the way, finally managed to pick up a copy of Monster Hunter Stories 1 physically from Japan. Like separate, not having to buy the double pack. Like you have no idea that this was like in 3 of my shipments from PlayAsia. And every time it was in one of my shipments from PlayAsia, something would get canceled or moved around. So I would end up not getting it, and I finally got it. So excited. I'm gonna get to replay the whole thing. Okay. Just reading up on the chat a bit here. So Jitters was happy. You'd brew cold brew concentrate when do I have a beer left here? Yes, I do. Fuck yeah. You know when you think you have no beer left, but you actually have a Molson 10.1% beer left, and you didn't know about it? Amazing. Okay, guys, we're about to get into the new games for this week, which is why I want to, you know, wet my throat. Hey, my man. I can't do the Denzel. My man. No one has it like no one does it like that Denzel. No one does the my man as good as he does. But yes. Yeah, a bit tonight. Xbox fridge. Hey, let's be honest. It's the best Xbox. That is the best Xbox. Right? Soon it's no longer going to be a thing. So that's going to be a collector's piece, bro. Collector's piece. Okay. But memes aside, it is time to get into the new Switch games for this week. Now, I'm going to do the fake intro. Well, fake intro. Like, I'm going to do the intro for tomorrow's video and all that. By the way, I want to say more and more people are watching the new Switch games videos, which I'm super happy about because it's a awesome... Like, I obviously the channel is based primarily around eShop deals. Like, that is our primary content, if you will. But I'm glad that we're like the channel is starting to get recognized for a little bit something else. And I'm consistently hitting like more than 2,000 views on the new Switch game, upcoming Switch games. And it's growing over time, which I'm super happy about. And I want to thank everyone who watches that video and gives it like a thumbs up and whatnot to help it go out. Because if I can get like more like regular series like that, but that are a little bit, you know, different, it's going to help a lot. Because I'll be honest, I love eShop deals, but it gets extremely repetitive doing only those videos all the time. And that's why I'm also trying to get back into regular reviews and whatnot. The problem lately, though, is I can only do one review a week because I'm playing games that are like 20 plus hours. Like, not gonna lie, and Ender Magnolia was like 20. I feel like saying like 22 hours, somewhere around there. Like Leica, so far I've had to put in like something like 8-9-ish hours. Yeah, honestly, I need to clone myself, or I need to really just do this full time. You know what I mean? Like, if I could like get like full days of gaming in, it would change everything. Then I could like, you know, you can sort of like rush it down. And what I find a little sad with this is there's a few indie games that came out over the last couple of weeks that I would have really liked to review because no one reviewed them. And your eShop deals is recycling of the same 30 games, or a bottle of... there's a lot of games that come back, but the reason why is that right now, this is what's happening on the eShop. The same developers are into a loop now. So it's the same games over and over again. And I tried to loop in a few new ones, but I don't want to put subpar games in there. So, and I would argue that it's definitely not the same 30 games because I'm going to tell you right away, my eShop's deals list of games, because yes, I do list which games make eShop deals, is like over 700 games long. The problem is it's always the same ones going on sale. That's the problem right now. It's not that like I wish that the eShop deals were like super fresh every week, but it's always the same games going on sale, and they're always going lower than before. So when I'm like, okay, I don't want to highlight, like, the list is already made for the next video. I'm just going to give an example, like, because there's like 2 games where I'm like, dude, I talked about these games last month too. Kumaju Ramilia Scarlet Symphony. It's back, but it's now 50% off instead of 40% off. So I'm like, do I skip on it or do I talk about it again because it went even lower than it was before? Fist Forged in Shadow Torch. It's 65% off instead of 60% off. So it's back, but it's even lower than before. But if I look actually the list for the next video, there are a lot of newcomers and a lot of games that we haven't seen in a little while. Like Mayhem Brawlers is going to be in there, and we haven't seen Mayhem Brawlers at least for 2 or 3 months. But yes, the Switch 2 is going to help refresh things a bit, because I'm going to... What's probably going to happen with eShop deals is I'm going to have to do like a Switch 2 and a Switch section. You know what I mean? Like Switch 2 exclusives and then games that run on both. Because don't forget that almost every Switch 1 game is going to run on the 2. So I'm gonna split eShop deals till we get far enough down the pipeline where the Switch 2 is going to overtake the Switch 1. But like I'm already thinking about how we're going to do like the in-between-ish of this, cuz like I don't want people that have a Switch 1 to feel like, okay, Switch 2's out, I abandon you guys, and no games for you guys, and we're only talking about games that are exclusive to the Switch 2. So for a long time we're going to do that, and if I ever have to do separate videos, I will. Like if for a while I have to do like maybe a separate Switch 1 and Switch 2, but I feel like we can put it in the same video. Like we can start with like games that run on both consoles and then finish up with games that are exclusive to the Switch 2. Or maybe invert it. I might try it both ways to see if some people respond better to, like Switch 2 first, then Switch 1 or whatnot. That game looks Canadian. But yeah, so just to tell you guys, like I know there's a lot of repetition lately on eShop deals, but it's because the same games keep getting lower. And I'm not going to start including subpar games just to have differentiation. That's the other thing. And look, I'm not pointing the finger at any channel in specifics, but there are some channels out there that are suggesting games that I would never suggest, that I've played, and I wouldn't be like, pick this game up. But to keep less fresh. And by the way, that's also why you're seeing less sizzle reels. Why we're not really using the sizzle reels too much. It's because there's so many repetitive games right now that if I was putting sizzle reels, every video would have overlap. Like every video would have overlap. And I think it's funner to have different videos than cover like 25 games, but have every video like 30% of the previous video. That's my thoughts. I prefer it that way. Hopefully you guys agree, but just so you know, that's like where we're at right now. It's not that I'm not trying to find new deals. It's that I need the new games to go on sale, and they're not really going on sale, or they're going like 10% off. And personally, I'm not going to highlight a game that's like $22.49 instead of $25. You know what I mean? Like, dude, come on, please. Like, give me at least like $5 to $10 off, and I'll highlight the game. But $22.49 instead of $24.99. Like often it's like not even lower than the pre-release discount. So I don't know if you guys like agree with those decisions, but that's sort of where I went with eShop deals for the moment. Because I do find we're sort of, I think what's happening is that the developers are in a rut. They're in a rut because they know it's the lead up to Switch 2, and their marketing focus is on getting ready for the Switch 2, and they sort of have the old games on autopilot. You know what I mean? Like, they're not like pushing their marketing on discounts for their older games. They just have it on autopilot. Dude, when I make my list for eShop deals, it takes me over an hour. When I can, I am gonna keep up the physical deals. I like doing them too. I like the fact that I can fit them in a little rapid fire section. But I take, like, just so you guys know, like, it takes me like an hour to an hour and a half to fish through for each one of the deal videos. Like, if people think it takes me like 10 seconds, like, no, and like I said, every week I make like a cheat sheet. So this is the cheat sheet for like next eShop deals video, so I know exactly where I'm going. So like this is every game that'll be in the video in order, percentage discount, price, size of the game, when the game is ending. So that when I'm doing the videos, I don't need to search around for the numbers. I do use Deku deals to see if the game is lower or not. That's how I know if the game is at its lowest or not. I use Deku deals for that part of it. When I have my list made, I go check if it's lower or not that's how I know. That's why I know if it's at a new low or a returning low or whatnot. Because honestly, I used to try to keep track of it myself, but it became like impossible. It became impossible over time. But yeah, so if some of you are feeling that the eShop deals are stale, I'm sorry. I try to keep them as fresh as I can, and problem is I don't make the deals. I report on the deals. I try to make the videos interesting by selecting a varied group of games that come from different genres and that have, I find strong deals for the week and are good value. But I do know it's harder, and like if you talk to most of the creators that are open about this, like I'm sure if you asked Alex, he'd tell you the same thing, like over at Switch Corner, like it's harder. Exactly. And like I do think though, like at one point I will have to try to do like trying a bunch of cheap older indie games that I haven't gotten around to yet. I haven't done that in a little while cuz I just haven't had time. Um yeah, it's funny that you say that cuz just so you know, a couple of videos in January I lost money on them. Because there were a couple of videos that did really bad, like right after January, and I started up the eShop gift cards, and I did the video made less money than the gift card cost me. But it's okay. That's just January. The rest of the months are good. Don't worry about that. It's like just a January situation, but it did happen in January. There were two videos that made less than the gift cards I gave out. But like it's fine. It's like one of those business things where it's like a loss leader. It doesn't matter. It's like we're yeah, yeah, but like that is particular to January on YouTube because January on YouTube is always rougher. But and you ask any YouTuber out there in the video game market at least, like obviously if you do political streams, it's like the holidays is like right now. But yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Frenchie. That didn't mean give me money, guys. That just I'm just I like talking about this stuff. Like I love talking about the real stuff about it. And um it's a reality that um I've said it all the time. I love giving away the gift cards and all that, but it's like one of those things where once the channel is bigger, it's going to be way easier to do. Um, Not that it's ever rough right now. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just like sometimes you're like, dude, the video made me $17 and I gave away 10 of it. So I worked 6 hours for $7, and you're like, oh my god. By the way, this is like January numbers, okay? But you're like, oh my god, this one hurt. And even when the videos make like $50, like during the holidays, and you give away like $10, it is still giving away like 20% of your work. But I love doing it because I find that it creates some excitement around it. I know there are some people that are watching only for the gift cards and that comment only for the gift cards, but what I really like over the years is I think we have a consistent bunch of people that comment because they like the videos and not only for the gift cards. And I saw that in December when I stopped giving the gift cards, I still had a good deal of comments coming in. And that honestly, like it means a lot to me because sometimes you're wondering, like, are people only like, not you guys that come to all the streams, okay, please do not, but like sometimes I do wonder. I'm like, dude, if I stop giving away the gift cards, would the channel like disappear? I don't think it would at this point at all. I think like viewership would probably be exactly the same or very close to the same, and but it's become like a tradition, and I don't want to stop it because I feel it like creates like more of like a sense of community around the videos. And it's like you support me, but you get I give back a little bit too. But yeah. Okay, let's get to the video games. Let's talk about the video games. It's fun to have a lighter show on the story side because we can get into the tangents. And I think I haven't had like a tangent stream in a while where like the biggest part of the stream was tangents. Like I said, for the newcomers, it's not always like this. Sometimes we're jumping story to story to story, especially when we have loaded stories that have like a lot of back and forth discussion and whatnot. It gets very content heavy, but tonight is very light, and Monday is my time to. I don't have a therapist, so you guys are my therapists. Okay. Rick, you have some editing to do. Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit. No, but like I said, the plan is still working. Once the side channel, gonna just shout it out. If you guys are not subscribed to the side channel, there's a Maple Syrup Gaming Extra XTRA. Please go and sub up. We need to get that 1,000 subs so I can monetize the channel. For the moment, the replays of the Monday night stream are going on the main channel. But once I have that other channel monetized, I am going to be putting all the replays of the long form streams and the Monday night streams. I'm going to stream from the main channel, but the replays are going to be available on the side channel. Okay, because I want to streamline the content to make sure that the videos that get a lot of views are all on the channel here to make it easier for sponsors. I want the channel to look better for sponsors. Okay, I'm going to say it flat out. I want the channel to look better for sponsors because right now the problem is I have some videos that get like 5,000 to 10,000 views, and then I have a bunch of other videos which are always the stream replays that get under 1,000 views, and it's hurting my average. Okay, because YouTube averages it out, and for a sponsor, they just look at an overview. They don't take the time to understand why, and whatnot. Dude, shh, squirrel, stop telling them about the side chick. Okay. All jokes aside, let's get to the new games for this week. So, like I said, as usual, just for anyone that might be new here, no, merch does not make a lot. And especially for merch to make a lot, I would have to make my own merch. Like right now, I basically go through it's like Spreadshop, which is like they make your merch on demand and send it to people. But if the channel gets bigger, I will make merch lots. What that means is like I have to go have like 50 shirts made myself, sell the 50 shirts. Number one, it'll be cheaper for you guys because I'll be able to make them for cheaper than probably a Spreadshop charges. And on top of it, like my portion of it is going to be way better. Like I can sell the shirt for less and still make it way more worth it for me. Because just to give you an idea, if you buy like a baseball cap off of Spreadshop, which is probably one of the cheapest things, I think it's going to be around $30, and I'm going to make something like $3 on it. If I had like 50 baseball caps made myself, I could have them made for like $25 and make like $5 off of it. Well, I do plan on doing that. I just wanted to, like, I want it to work out, but like, I will do that. I will do like a exclusive shirt. This is the only time you can get it with X design. I'm making 50 of them. If you want it, buy it. But I do think the channel needs to be a little bit bigger than that. Because like, I know some of you will maybe buy that, but yeah, I'm looking at things like that, and I want it to be quality and stuff like that. So I am looking at things like that, and I think those are things that would sell very well if I would do in-person things as well. Like if one day I make it to like Too Many Games, to show up with like shirts at Too Many Games, I think would be like way better. Do you understand what I mean? Like, because I would be able to cut out the shipping fees. So if we did like an in-person thing and some people make it out, it would be like great at that point. Okay, let's get into the games. So I've been saying it for a while. Now it is time. So, hey everyone, and welcome back. So now it's time to look at the new Nintendo Switch games coming out for this week. And although it's a slightly quieter week on the eShop than usual, we've still got some really high quality games coming out for this week. So just as usual, we're going to take a look at the trailers. We're going to see what games are coming out and what games you should keep on your tracker for this week. Just as usual, if you are liking the content, make sure to hit that like button. I did a lot of repeats in that, but we're going to keep it because I really don't want to do another intro. As I was saying it, I was like, my words, I was repeating too much the same stuff, but it'll be fine for this week. It will be fine. Now, guys, don't forget at the end when I'm going to do the, you can see me in the next stream, it won't be the real end of the video. Okay, it won't be the real end of the video. It'll be like the fake ending first. Okay. So now if we jump into our first game for this week, it is going to be While Waiting, that is coming out on February 5th. So it might already be out when you're watching this video. It'll be selling for $19.99. Now, this is a puzzle game with a very innovative design, and it has me really intrigued for this week. I do think that this game has a potential to be a stellar puzzle game. However, it is one of those games that I definitely think you should wait for a review or two because it could flip the other way around as well. But the design seems extremely interesting. Let's take a look at the trailer and then we'll come back with some more comments. And there's a cat. Come on, guys. There's a cat. It has a really weird concept where it says you can do nothing or you can participate in the puzzle, which I'm really interested in seeing how that actually works out. Now, I'm pretty sure that this song is going to be copyrighted. So if I do have to mute this trailer, you can check out the links down below for the full trailer. There's a very strong likelihood I'm going to have to copyright the song because it's one of those classic songs that I'm pretty sure is going to be copyrighted. So like I said, While Waiting, now it is really, I'm trying to wrap my brain around what this game is going to be like. But I think it's one of those concepts. It reminds me a little bit of the Goose Game, okay? Where the overall package, you're like, what the heck is this whole game about? And it ends up being just so addicting and so charismatic as a package that the game ends up being like a love letter to some people. But I do think we're going to have to wait and see. But I have this funny feeling that this could be a breakout game. Do wait for a couple of reviews or whatnot, but definitely have it on your radar because I think this one could be a breakout game for this year. And it could be maybe our first really surprise hit. Now, let's take a look at our next game. Now, our next game is probably going to be the biggest game for this week. And that is Sid Meier's Civilization 7 that is coming out on February 6th. Now, there is a little bit of a, in my opinion, what I'm going to call a slight controversy around this game. The thing is that this week on the 6th, you can pick up the deluxe pack of the game for $89.99 or the biggest edition of the game for $119.99. Now, there is a regular edition of the game that will be $59.99, so that's $60 price point. But the problem is that game is coming out next week on the 11th. I really hate when companies do this. I really hate when companies make you pay extra to play the game early, but also force you to play, like, to buy the deluxe pack. Like, it's not only early access, is that if you want to play the game this week, you have to buy the deluxe pack. You can't buy the base version of the game. I don't like when companies do that. It is not exactly what I would call a controversy. By the way, thank you so much for the gifted sub, Frenchie Mom. It is not exactly what I would call a controversy. I just don't like it. I know a lot of companies and games now do early access. I don't think Civilization needs to do that. I think Civilization is one of those game packages out there that you're already going to have the massive fan base buying the deluxe pack and the extra packs and the big pack for people that just want access to all the contents, all the different civilizations and whatnot, which are included in the game. But so it just makes it, it leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth when on top of it, they want to sort of mix like an early access into this. But all that aside, I think it's going to be an excellent strategy game. Civilization is probably one of the longest running strategy franchises out there. Civilization 6 was a great game on the Nintendo Switch. This one looks to be phenomenal. And I do think it's going to have an upgrade on the Switch 2 visually, but already I don't think this is going to be very hard for the Switch to run. We're going to see when it comes out to make sure. But let's take a look at the trailer and we'll get more into it after. Graphically, it doesn't look that far off from Civilization 6. Honestly, I think Japan is one of my favorite civilizations to play as. See, because even here, they're giving you February 11th, but they're not letting you know that, hey, if you pay the big price, you can get it on February 6th. Now, by the way, in next week's video, I will give this a quick notice that the game is also coming out, the regular edition, on the 11th, but we're not going to go as deep into it as this week. So if you don't see it in next week's video, it's just because we're covering it this week. But look, Civilization 7 looks great. They look to be adding in a lot of new mechanics in there. They make it deeper each and every time. I do think they've done a lot also to make it more newcomer friendly, especially in the last like 2 or 3 entries. So hopefully this one keeps the same trend up. But if you've never played a strategy game like Civilization and you like a turn-based gameplay system, almost like a board game, I definitely think you should try out Civilization. If you're sort of on the fence, Civilization 6 is on sale for almost $5 sometimes. Pick up 6, try it out. If you love it, grab 7 after that. I always think that's a great strategy when you have an ongoing series like this, especially knowing that the previous entry, you can pick it up for almost peanuts right now. So we have Sid Meier's Civilization. I don't like the pricing scheme that if you want it for this week, you have to pay $89.99 or $119.99. But for the fanatics of the series, you're probably already planning on buying the big pack. So it's not going to be a stretch for some. I just wish, like, they just launched a $59.99 version at the same time. There's like no reason not to, and just like let people who want to buy the base version buy the base version. Okay, that brings us right away to our next game, which is for me probably the game that has me most excited for this week, and that is Momodora Moonlight Farewell, which is another pixel art Metroidvania. Yes, I know we've covered a lot of Metroidvanias this year, but look, they are stellar so far. And this one seems like it's going to be another really great entry. At least I have my fingers crossed. And currently, this is the game that is leader for being for the our gameplay stream on Thursday. Now, it is going to be Thursday rather than Friday this week for people that do want to show up, but this is the leader so far for the stream this week. Now, this game is also coming out on February 6th. February 6th is going to be a big day for this week, and the regular price is $16.99. Currently, pre-order discount setting it at $15.29. Not a huge pre-order discount, but I do like the pricing on this one. Under $20, almost at the $15 price point. And when you're going to see the quality of the pixel art, I do think that it matches up very nicely with what they're offering as a package. Obviously, hopefully, the game will turn out to play good as well, but I do think we have a ton of potential here. It's coming from a company that generally puts out pretty decent games. So let's take a look at the trailer. And I love it because it's beautiful pixel art, but it's not like copying Hollow Knight or anything like that. It has its own vibe to it. The movement looks really, really good. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the ability system is going to be like. And there we have it, Momodora Moonlight Farewell. Like I said, for a Metroidvania under $20, if this one can manage to deliver some solid gameplay, I think we're going to have a really good game on our hands here. And if you're a fan of Metroidvanias, like I said, you've been spoiled so far for this year. If you haven't seen it yet, but we've played like 3 excellent Metroidvanias already this year, like games that are almost at a 9 out of 10 each and every one of them. So we're being spoiled for this year. And we just might get spoiled again this week with Momodora Moonlight Farewell. Like I said, February 6th, and it'll be selling for $16.99. Definitely keep it on your radar if you're a Metroidvania fan. I do think we're going to have something pretty interesting. Next, we have a game that has me very, very interested from the co-op perspective. We have Big Helmet Heroes. Now, this one, I am sort of on the fence though, because it looks so much fun, but it also could have performance issues on the Switch. I am slightly worried for this one. But basically, it is a 3D beat 'em up, very centered around co-op gameplay, very centered about like funny visuals, and obviously the name says it itself, Big Helmet Heroes. All your heroes have huge oversized heads, but this is a beat 'em up adventure game. If the performance is good, this could be a really great time with some friends. Let's take a look at the trailer. By the way, this one is coming out on February 6th as well. It'll be selling for $24.99. A little bit more on the pricier side. So this one, you're going to want to make sure that the performance is on point before picking it up. But check it out. I'm pretty sure we're going to get some gameplay videos right on release date. I wish I had time to play it on release day. I will try to pick it up, but most likely it won't be the Thursday game. Like, you can play this alone, and I most likely am going to play it alone, but I do think you're going to have so much more fun in co-op. I'm going to try to get one of my kids to play with me. I'm going to try to get my youngest daughter to play with me and beat up some monsters together. Unfortunately, I won't be seeing my brother over the next couple of weeks, most likely, so I have to try to recruit one of the youngins. Teach them what real gaming is about. Man, I love that. You see, he picked up his friend and threw him over the side. So that's like one of those games that looks like you can actually hurt your friend as well. And although that can be frustrating, it was one of the greatest things about the original Double Dragon. Now, I'm a bit worried because, like I said, graphically it's a 3D game. We know that Switch can sometimes have some issues. There seems to be a lot of high-res environments. The thing, however, is that the chibi-esque animation, the chibi-esque designs also sometimes really work well with the Switch. So that could maybe come in and save it on the other end. But I do think this game is going to be a ton of fun. Like I said, however, I do think it's going to be primarily directed towards people that want to play in local co-op. But I do think Big Helmet Heroes looks like fun. $24.99, however, is a little bit expensive, especially when we look at the beat 'em up scene right now, what you can get for $24.99. However, I would say this is a definite one that I would keep an eye on for a sale. If it hits around that like $15 price point, and it has a decent performance, it could be an excellent, excellent pickup for this week. Great. So now let's take a look at our next game. Now, this game also has me very intrigued. It is called Moons of Darsalon, and it is also releasing on February 6th. Like I said, February 6th this week is going to be a big day, and it is selling for $17.99. Now, this seems to be a retro-styled but platformer, 2D platformer, but it has some very modern design elements to it. And it seems to have some pretty funky gameplay at parts. Now, I do think this could be another one that could be a surprise hit on the Nintendo Switch. It actually came out earlier on PC. I did not have a chance to check out the reviews on PC, but the trailer itself captivated me enough that I was going to show it either way. So let's take a look at Moons of Darsalon and see why this game could maybe be very promising. It almost feels like Pikmin-ish, where he has like other characters following him and he's giving them orders. And the art style, although it's heavily pixelated, has a charm to it. And these vehicles are what's intriguing me a lot. Once again, if the trailer gets muted, links will be down below. This music might be copyrighted, but I don't know. The retro modern astronaut style as well that they've given to the characters are pretty freaking fantastic. It looks like it's coming from the 1960s, but at the same time like modern as well. So I love the visual presentation here. And like I said, there seems to be parts of the gameplay that seem straightforward action platforming, others that you seem to be commanding other units almost in a Pikmin-like style, and then finally to wrap it up, like you drive around these crazy vehicles. So I do think that, once again, this could be a surprise hit for this week. It's a recurring theme so far, but could be a surprise hit for this week. $17.99 also can be a very fair price. Once again, under that $20 price point, which I think is so important for some of these indie games to get people to take a chance. I think that $20 price point has become like a mental block for a lot of people for taking a chance. Okay, then we get to another game coming out on February 6th. Now, this one is another game that I will definitely be playing. It is Under Defeat that is coming out on February 6th, as I mentioned. It'll be $19.99. Now, this is the remake of a shoot 'em up. We'll call it a shoot 'em up, but it also has a pretty original gameplay style, and it is done by a company that has remade Gimmick 2. They've done a lot of really phenomenal remakes lately. So that's why I say I'm definitely going to play this one, because Gimmick and Gimmick 2 actually surprised me a ton. And so I sort of have like this odd confidence in this company knows how to modernize these retro formats or these retro ideas and come up with a really great game. So like I said, February 6th for $19.99. Let's take a look at the trailer. It's like a top-down view, but not pure top-down. And you're flying a helicopter that can move in 8 directions. So it's not only left to right, you also can angle sorry about that. You also can angle your helicopter. I'm trying to remember the name of the game on PS1 that this reminds me of, but there was a game on PS1, although it was more from a over-the-shoulder perspective, that you were flying around a sort of helijet, and it reminds me somewhat of that. Although this seems to have linear, like, shoot-'em-up levels to it. So we have Under Defeat. I think if you're a shoot 'em up fan, this one can be a great game for this week. And I am a shoot 'em up fan. If you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know I love smashing through a shoot 'em up when I have a few hours to kill. And this one looks like it could have a ton of potential. Now, you might want to wait on a review more to see, number one, performance-wise on the Switch, how it is, and where it is in the difficulty spectrum. Like, is this an approachable one if you're just a casual fan of shoot-'em-ups, or did they remake it like an old-school arcade game with a limited number of lives, and you'll be tearing your hair out trying to get through the game? You might want to wait for that aspect to come out, but I have a feeling that they're going to make it approachable. Most of their latest remakes, and I'm taking the Gimmick series again, they had 2 difficulty modes, one for the hardcore gamers and one that really made it approachable for newcomers. So yeah, Jungle Strike would be a very good comparison. Like a modernized Jungle Strike gives a good feeling. It's not the game I had in mind from the PS1 era, but it's maybe even a better comparison, however. So Under Defeat is going to be, I think, a great game for shoot 'em up fans for this week. Now, we have my long shot of the week. So if you've been watching these videos for a while, you know I like to take a chance on a smaller game that maybe a lot of people are going to overlook, but I think that this one could have a really nice potential, and that is Genome Guardian. That is coming out also on February 6th, but this one will be selling for only $11.99, and it is basically a roguelite turret shooter. So let's take a look at the trailer. I think we need a visual before I get into the particulars here. It'll help a lot explaining the game. The visual design is so funky. I'm loving it, and it seems to be a very big variety of gameplay modes. Now, there's also a lot of questions that are coming from this trailer that I'll talk to you about. I'm seeing some comments. This looks fun. This looks funky. It does. It does. And I'm not joking. Like, I think that, okay. Now, I just want to be clear here. Basically, I have a lot of questions too, because as you can see, there seems to be shifting gameplay modes. Like sometimes you're a turret shooter where basically it's almost like a shoot 'em up. Other times there was brick breaking gameplay where you're like basically bouncing bricks around, like here. Other times you're like gobbling things up, like you're playing like oh, this is the standard shoot 'em up level, like rather than a centered one. Other times, like here, you're like gobbling up all these things. Now, apparently, the roguelike function is that you're going to be evolving. You're basically going to be investing in different DNA strands, and that's why your main character keeps changing its appearance. Because depending on what DNA strands you're going to be investing in, it's going to be changing your character's perspective and how he acts. However, what I'm wondering is, do the levels shift to the choices you make? Or do you have to make your choices to adapt to the levels that are presented to you? That's where I think that's the big question I'm asking here. Like, if you evolve in a certain way, is that going to impact which levels you're going to get? Because you're going to become like a character that's really good at one thing, so the game's going to challenge you with levels of that type. Or is it more that you have to see what the next level the game is going to give you, and you're going to have to choose your evolutions to be able to complete that level? But I think this one could be, once again, a ton of fun, and I'm gonna try really hard to play it. It's a stretch because, like I said, I already have like Momodora on my list. I really want to play under Defeat, and then if I have time, I want to play Genome Guardian. But there's also another game on this list, which is our last game for this week, that I would really like to try out. So it's a packed week of games that I'm like, dude, there are so many like interesting games, but games that are leaving me with questions that I feel like I have to play to answer. But Genome Guardian, $11.99. If you want to take a shot for this week, if you want to take a risk, I feel like this is the place to go. Now, last and not least, we have the Soul game coming out on February 7th on today's list. We have Macross Shooting Insight. Now, this game is coming out February 7th, as I said. However, it's going to be the most expensive game as well, other than Civilization. It'll be selling for $39.99. Now, if you're familiar with the Macross series, it is a mecha series from Japan with a transforming jet piloted by expert pilots. So the jet has 3 modes. It has like a robot mode that looks somewhat like, a robot that basically shoots and can fly. Then it has a jet mode, which is like for maximum maneuverability and speed. And it has an in-between mode where there's like a jet with legs hanging out under it, which allows it to do like it's like in between the two, and it allows it to basically maneuver very close to the ground and have those legs available for maneuvering. Now, I loved Macross. I used to watch the anime, so yes, Robotech. I'd have to remember if Robotech is the same, because I know that some of them were crossovers and some of them weren't. Not sure if Robotech was a crossover with Macross, but Macross overall super excited for this one as well. The gameplay looks once again very original. It's another shoot 'em up, but this one varies depending on what mode you're in. So it has me very interested, and I'm wondering if the game is going to force you into these modes, or when you switch modes, is the game gonna switch like which vision or which gameplay style it's giving you. I'm really wondering which one of the two is going to be the dominant, but let's take a look at the trailer and you'll understand what I'm talking about. See, because they tell you that there's the 3 modes. So you see you had horizontal. Yeah. So I'm really wondering, is it you, like, do you get to a level and then like, oh, in this one you're in mecha mode, oh, in this one you're in jet mode? Or is it like, if you switch from mecha to jet mode, like the screen's going to turn around and you're going to get the top-down view? I'm really wondering how it's going to work. So there we have Macross Shooting Insight, which will be our last highlighted game for this week. But seriously, if you're a fan of the old Macross anime, I do think you'll have a serious interest in this. I am worried about how the gameplay will play out because, like I said, I don't know if it's dominant. If the game forces you into the different modes, I feel it's going to defeat the purpose of having the transforming plane, because the whole point of having the transforming plane is deciding when you transform it into the different modes. But at the same time, I can maybe see structurally for the game, it might work better that way. I'm just hoping that there's going to be some surprises here. I definitely want to see some gameplay for this one. I'm going to try and play it if I have time. But once again, as I just went over in the previous game, the list is loaded for this week. So that was our Switch game. Those were our Switch games for this week. So hopefully you found something you're going to like on today's list. If not, we've always got that backlog that is ready to jump into. You can check out the latest eShop deals video because we've got a ton of games on sale as well. As usual, I also want to know, do you think I missed out on any games coming out this week that I didn't highlight that you think are worth a highlight? Let me know in the comments down below. You can also let me know what you thought of the games, which one you preferred the most out of the list. And as usual, I hope I'll see all of you in my next video. Okie dokie. Man, I'm starting to surprise myself how I'm managing to do this all fluidly. Because when I'm not streaming, I can never do this stuff in one take. Never. However, I think because I'm streaming, I'm not caring that I'm fixing my words sometimes, because you hear me mispronounce words and then I repronounce them right. You know, it happens to me all the time. But I think because I'm streaming, I'm not caring about it. When I'm recording on my own, I'm very hard with myself. Like if I mispronounce a word, I want to fix it right away and I want it to pronounce perfectly. But yeah, honestly, like I said, this week, man, there's a shit ton of really cool games coming out. Like they aren't big AAAs and they aren't big, super well-known franchises, but there's a lot of like I really want to try almost every game this week because, like, you know how sometimes, like, half the list, I'm like, I really want to try. The other half the list, I'm like, I know I'm not going to try right away. But this week, I have a really hard time saying, like, hey, I'm not going to try Genome Guardian, or I'm not going to try Big Helmet Heroes, or I'm not going to try this. At the same time, I can't even buy all of them because it's going to cost way too much money. I did apply for a couple of review codes for the games. However, I don't know if I'm going to get all of them. And I'm a little backed up on review codes, so I do need to like get a few reviews out. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Oh my God. What time is it? 1 a.m. You know, I think we're gonna end it pretty early this week. Well, early, like we're gonna end it like pretty soon, simply because we did so much like side talking that I think you guys we got so much lore this week already. Can I really top it? Can I really top it? I think we had some fun. We had some good chats. You know, shared some stories, shared some stuff. Yeah, sorry guys, and I know some of you wanted maybe to talk tariffs and stuff, but I really didn't want to get back into it. Like it was such a I found a frustrating week on that side, like because and I tried to explain it very quickly the other weeks, but basically tariffs are good for companies and the like rich people, but are really bad for middle and working class people. Okay, that's the basic thing you have to do in the math, because basically companies get to increase their profit margins, and you can look historically. There's a lot of foundation about this. Okay, and I know it's unfortunate, but although I think Trump is making a lot of good decisions on some things, I do think his economic plan is geared towards helping his friends that are very rich people and setting them up in like with huge tax breaks and stuff, which is maybe the weakness, which I find sad, because he campaigned on the complete opposite, with helping the everyday American put more money in their pocket. But I really think that his plan is more going to help like the top 2% become even more top 2, because like I'm going to take Elon Musk as the example. Do you think he cares if yogurt goes from like $3 to 4.25? Nah, he doesn't give a crap. Like, because you know why? His company on the tax break on the other end is going to make an extra $3 billion. There's no way he's going to eat $3 billion worth of yogurt in a year. Do you understand what I mean? Like, that's where I'm getting from. So the tax break for the upper class is such a huge difference that the tax break is going to more than make up the products that they have to pay more for, while the average person that let's say he gives the middle class a tax break, that means that like you save $3,000 on income tax this year. The problem is the products going up are going to cost you way more than extra 3,000, while the guy who gets a tax break and gets an extra 500 million in his pocket, whatever he buys isn't going to cost him an extra 5 million. Do you understand where I'm getting at? So the guy that saved 3,000 because his salary is so much lower, but his stuff costs him an extra 5 grand, is actually losing 2 grand. While the other guy who's saving 500 million, but his stuff is costing him an extra, like, let's say he's an excessive spender, an extra 50 grand, is still $450 richer. $450,000 richer. So that's where it hurts things. And anyway, that's just what I find sucky about it. Yeah, no, I'm done with that. But that is the basic thing, and that's why I found it sucked it all week, because like all week I was like, dude, I don't feel like paying more money for the next like 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, dude, this is gonna suck. Like, it's just gonna make like everyday stuff cost more. So we are done. Yeah, no, I'm overdone too. Like, and I follow so much of it because although like, look, I'm a gamer, I also try to stay very current with like current affairs and stuff. And I'm following it so much. Even today, I turned off like I sometimes listen to podcasts and so many people are talking about it that I had to turn it off today, because I'm just like, look, I'm done. Too much. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Well, Mega Man right away with the retro games coming back. Mega Man X. Mega Man X. I would bring that back in a second. In a second. And then let's look at the classic franchises I have here. Well, I'm already getting Ninja Gaiden. We already know Ninja Gaiden's coming back, so I'm like, God dang. And on top of it, Ninja Gaiden's coming back as a new 2D game and a new 3D game. Like, everyone's focused on Ninja Gaiden 4, but I'm actually more excited for the new 2D game. You know what actually game I would really like to see from the PS2 era come back? Maximo. Did anyone play Maximo on the PS2? Which was a super hard 3D platformer. It was basically like a 3D precision platformer. I loved Maximo. After that, Battletoads. Could we please get the Microsoft Battletoad game on the Switch? Microsoft, you guys like the Switch now. Can we get Battletoads, please? I really want to play Battletoads on the Switch. And I want a new Battletoads that is better than the one we got. Like, the one we got isn't bad, but it's like medium. Maximo would be one. I really want to know when the new Shovel Knight games are coming out, because they were supposed to come out at the end of last year, and they sort of stopped talking about them. So I'm wondering when the new Shovel Knight games are coming out, like the remake of the first game, like because we're getting like a ultimate edition of the first game. I really want to replay that on stream. I really want to replay Shovel Knight on stream. I think that could be a really fun time. Like, that's a series that I'm sad that when I started a channel, it had already been out for so long that it wasn't really worth playing. Yeah, Shovel Knight of Hope DX. Nina the Hollower. Not Nina. Mina the Hollower. Really looking forward to that game as well. Love to get a date on it. Trying to think. But like we were talking about retro franchises, but yeah, I think Battletoads I would love to see. Like, and especially we're in such like a beat 'em up revival that I don't see that we didn't get a new Battletoads. Like, I think it would be a perfect game. I would also like Power Rangers was good. Okay. Like, the more I think about it, Power Rangers is like an 8 out of 10 for me. I would really like them to do a follow-up to it and refine the Megazord mode. I think now playing through the game again, the weakest part of the game is really the Zords and Megazord mode. Although they're epic because they did it. They did it. Okay? They need to refine those modes. They need to find a way to refine those modes. I think they have a nice blueprint for a starting point, but they need, number one, the Zords need to feel different. Because right now, the Zords all feel the same when you're running through the Zord levels. And they need to make the Megazord level a little, I don't know, like, I would say more of like a punch-out design than like a puzzle, dodge this. Yeah. Exactly. They made it interesting for a first playthrough, but what I realize is doing multiple playthroughs, my least favorite part ends up being the Megazord levels and the Megazord levels, and they should be the best part of the game. Like, the Megazord levels should be the payoff for the game. Do you understand what I mean? Like, let's be honest. The best part of Power Rangers was, we need Megazord power now. And then like, you know, coming together, and then like the Megazord. Come on, as a kid, what, like, if the Power Rangers didn't have the Megazords, it wouldn't have been an epic show. The Megazords made the show. So they need that to be the payoff, where everyone is like that. And look, the first time you play through them, they feel like a payoff because you're just like, oh man, we're in the Megazord, we're like fighting like Punch Out, like blah, 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 blah. But what I realize is over time, playing through the game multiple times, it becomes, you're like, oh, it's the Megazord level. Okay. Dodge, 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 hit, 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 dodge, 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 hit, hit, hit. Oh, I missed it. Let's go again. Dodge. You know, it's a little bit too easy. But yeah. Anyway. Oh, and I fixed my. I'm super excited. I fixed my lightsaber. I was worried. I don't think I ever showed it on stream, but I have like I have a. It's not a NeoPixel. It's like it is the motion sensor ones, but it's like the. Hold on. It's like the motion sensor ones, but it's like the wow, the color doesn't. You can't see the color because of the lights. Like the blade is actually orange, but it looks like yellow on stream. Hold on.
Volume high. Steady. Standard mode. The Dark Sword.
Yeah. You can see it's purple. Wow, the colors look so bad. But basically, it stopped working. And I managed to fix it this weekend, so I'm actually super happy.
Steady. Standard mode. Standard mode. Volume low. Mute. Volume high. Volume low.
I'm not sure why it's not flipping between the modes. I thought it was 2, 1, 2.
Unstable.
No, that's unstable from stable.
Pulse. Steady. Standard mode.
Anyway, I can't get it to fluctuate. No, it's working. I'm just forgetting what it is to get it to switch from modes. It's maybe it's when it's on.
Color change.
Well, this is color change, so it's gonna fluctuate through the.
Color selected.
Anyway. Either way, I managed to fix it, so I'm happy. Because, like, I didn't want to have to buy another $100 lightsaber. Yeah, it does. Hold on. But like now, this is not the sound I like, but because this isn't the standard one. But you also have the blaster deflects. But this isn't the sound package I like. Maybe I didn't fix it. Because it's being crazy again. Oh my god, it's not turning off. I'm gonna have to pull the battery out. Whew. God save me. Dude. Gonna have to work on it again. Annoying as crap, man. The worst is I worked on it all week, well, not all weekend. Like it didn't. I worked on it both days. Finally got it working, and now it's pissing me off again. Oh well. It is what it is. Luckily, we got it off because I'm like, dude, I'm gonna like already. I'm pretty sure I woke everyone up because this man, it was screaming loud. I don't know for you guys if it was loud, but for me, it was loud as fudge. Okay, guys, hey, I think we're gonna say goodnight for tonight. But it was a great time. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Like I said, hopefully those people that aren't used to the streams didn't get scared by the tangents. But was a super fun time. Check out the video tomorrow if you want to look at the new games again. And as usual, I hope I'll see all of you in my next video. Have a great one, guys. Don't forget, stream on Thursday.